So what I'm saying really is that the PDP was in power for 16 years. And with all the thieving, stealing, which I understand was not the same thing as corruption. And then you have the APC government unable to really establish a firm grip on the political system. So that's why I say we're faced with a Hobson's choice in terms of PDP versus APC.
How worried are you about that, seeing as this administration is coming to in its twilight? We have, how long do they have to go? And this is the condition that we find ourselves in.
Well, that's a valid question. You know, it took the APC 5 months to pick its cabinet. It's taken the APC over 2 years to come out with a list of board memberships as well as chairmen of boards. What else is new? People say same of the same. It's actually more of the same. And so quite sincerely, apart from a place like Lagos, which seems to be working, I can't point to any other APC state which has demonstrated panache. I was tickled by the observations of Bismarck to the fact that in terms of the good life, that Taraba is even superior than Lagos. But again, maybe the jury is still out on how effective the APC has been. But the alternative for me is devastating. I can't even contemplate seeing another 4 years of what used to be before APC stumbled into power.
Mr. Oro, you're a lecturer of political science. How do you see it?
I'm actually a historian.
And a historian.
I'm a Department of History and Strategic Studies. Well, what worries me in all of this is how the wranglings, the inefficiencies affect the ordinary man. At the end of the day, all achievements is to be measured by human happiness and development. And one wonders how much of this is considered in the wranglings. One party has left, another one has come. How much has changed? And the question I would have loved to ask Garba Shehu is, in 2015, with all that brouhaha, with all those high expectations, if anybody has said 2 years down the line, Nigeria will still be like this, I would say never.
But you said you'd have loved to ask him. He's here and he can hear you. So, Mr. Shehu, how much has changed? That's the question that he's putting to you.
Well, before I answer this question, can I, with respect, also respond to the prof in his opening shot, saying that APC is unable to make itself felt or have a grip on the country's politics? I think that's a huge understatement. What is a political party? He's a professor of law, and I believe more qualified to define. The party is no more than an association of people who come together, determined to win political power to achieve certain ends. APC from 2015 to now has won every election that mattered in this country. Even Anambra, that we came second, in effect, we won Anambra. Not that I'm disputing Abga's victory. Abga took the first place and they won the governor. But for APC to have won the second place ahead of PDP in Anambra, it's itself a major victory. So if APC is strong, is effective, is there on the ground. And to say nothing has changed, I think that's grossly unfair. Look at all of the things that are happening with the war against corruption in the country. There's no longer impunity. Look, in the pecking order of this country's executive arm of government, this third most powerful, most influential person had been removed from office on the basis of corruption. There's no longer impunity in the land. High-profile convictions, about 500 convictions, high-profile, low-profile, from May 29th to now, 2.5 years. Huge recoveries. This thing about Boko Haram would have taken over Asorok in Abuja. Look, they have been fought day and night. And Boko Haram has been defeated. We're just finishing the job in the Northeast.
And you're planning to spend $1 billion. Mr. Shehu, you're planning to spend $1 billion in the fight against insurgency, and you say they've been defeated?
No. I think the Minister of Information has given all of the information you need in regard to that. This is money that it will empower law enforcement in the country. Yes, a part of it will go into the fight against Boko Haram. In any case, the war against terrorism has entered a new phase. As the experts have said, it's going to be intelligence-driven. Are we equipped to survey the environment and to offer intelligence to the armed forces to fight? I thought that in the last 2 or so years, we had relied on France, on the UK and the United States to do aerial surveillance and give us maps. So why can't we do that by ourselves? That's national pride in these things. So no, it's wrong to say nothing has changed. So much has changed in the country, even by Rwanda just a short while ago. I think that we shouldn't be deaf to the reality because we have reasons to do so.
All right, he says so much has changed, but earlier on in the year, we saw some of the deepest divisions and things that divided us when we were talking about restructuring along those lines. And even though we thought we were all different and had changed, we saw how the same things seem to be. What do you make of the narrative that came out at that time of what unites us and what divides us as a people?
If you remember, I was on the confab, and so I recognized the fault lines of Nigeria and the attempts by the confab to plug the holes. It is most regrettable that this government has said it will have nothing to do with the recommendations of the confab. The confab had nearly 500 very distinguished Nigerians who spent nearly 3 months discussing the problems of this country. And that is why the problem of the country, I'm talking of the national question, I'm talking of balance and equity in terms of political power, will not go away. And if we continue to run away from restructuring, the questions will constantly come to challenge us. Because let's face it, Nigeria has moved only a little bit further from when Chief Awolowo in 1947 described Nigeria as a geographical expression. We don't really have a Nigerian nation. And people first think of their ethnic origin and then maybe their religion before they think of Nigeria. We have to understand the problematic of Nigeria before we go into the political economy of the country. I mean, it's a very difficult situation, and you don't solve a problem by running away from it.
Well, some people say that the problem is it's not our unity, but looking at the terms of which we will live together. I think that's how they put it at that time. Is that what you see as well?
Well, not exactly. Political theorists have analyzed the structures of states, ones that are heterogeneous, and the model that will be best. I would, pick on what Prof has said again. When Chief Awolowo described Nigeria as a mere geographical expression, he made a couple of statements before then by saying that we should not delude ourselves to thinking that we are one. And that since Nigeria is made up of so many ethnic groups, it's multi-ethnic, the best political system that will work will be federalism. And the British, in constitutional engineering from 1922 to 1946, discovered that Nigeria was not as united as they thought. And so in 1954, they came up with a constitution, the Littleton Constitution, which brought a true federal structure. And that was the system that was operated from 54 to 66. All of us agree, I mean, anybody with half a logical mind will agree that that was our best time. And things work smoothly. Going down the line, when Nigerians say restructuring, what they are simply saying, let us return to something similar to the constitution we operated from 1954 to 1966. That is all what it's about. So it's about accepting a political structure, a system that is in tandem with our configuration.
Well, I'm going to ask you
the fact that Nigeria is heterogeneous.
I'm going to ask you to hold those thoughts, and we'll see whether everyone else has that opinion as well.
Indeed. We'll take a moment and come back to look at restructuring and the president resuming work. We'll be back shortly.
you.